Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Jungle Laws podcast. My name is Koyena Duke, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm going to be talking to another wonderful person, and she's going to tell us all about herself, what she does, and we're going to dive into the questions today. So, hope you love this episode and hope you learned something from it today. Thank you.
Hello, Koyena.
Hello, Toyin. How are you doing?
Fine.
Okay, so I would want you to please introduce yourself and tell us about yourself. Tell us your story.
Okay, my name is Toingrick Bianiko.
Okay, so toying.
Yes, like when you're toying with something.
Oh, toying.
Yes, then you add Rick to
Yes.
it. Toingrick.
Oh, Toingrick.
Yes, and I'm a human resources consultant.
Okay.
I've been practicing human resource management for a decade now.
Ooh.
A bit over, actually. And I like to think of myself as someone that got into human resource management by accident.
Yes,
Right?
as most great things in our lives.
Well, yeah, because I studied English.
Oh.
So, those of us that studied English, physics, chemistry, microbiology, all those things, and we don't know what to do with it. Right? And yeah, eventually got a job at a company that had HR and admin together. I started from the bottom, and then I realized that managing people was something I was good at. In fact, I didn't realize it. My boss realized it. And the rest is history. That's how I took the part of HR.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful way to start a career. So I'm going to tell you something curious about us. So we met on social media.
Yes.
I think it was on Instagram.
Yes.
I met you through your handle elevationcraft.
Yeah.
.hr.
Yes.
Yes. So I was the one handling Groco management myself at the time. So that's how I met her. And we've never met in person.
Yes.
We've always been having phone calls. Like we even took it off social media onto WhatsApp, and we've never met in person. This is the first time we are seeing face to face.
Yes, but I'm happy to meet you in person.
Yes, finally.
Long overdue.
Yes,
Long overdue.
Because anybody asked me, "Oh, do you know like a HR prof?" Like, "Oh, definitely. I'll send you her number."
She has referred me to people actually.
And I just sent her number. Well, we've never met in person.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think we've really leveraged social media.
Exactly.
Keeping it there,
No,
but giving each other.
But the idea of social media is connection.
Yes.
You can use it for whatever you want to use it. No judgment. But I think that the idea is getting to meet people who are not in your usual circle, connecting, and then building relationships from there.
Yeah.
I think that was the initial idea.
Yeah.
For social media. So we're just going to go right into our questions for today. So you said you're a HR consultant. What does a HR consultant do? Because HR gets a very bad rap.
Well, summarily, my job as a HR consultant is supporting business owners, supporting organizations to solve employee-related issues.
Okay.
Right, either through rendering counsel, like advisory services, or actually identifying what their challenges are and then deploying solutions to solve those challenges. Right, and then even hiring the right people for their companies.
Okay.
So yeah, summarily, that's what I do.
Okay, so that's what we know HR to do basically, but on a high level. Yes. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about people and capacity, basically as it concerns Nigerian businesses. So this episode, we want to talk about the resources, the human resources that are available to Nigerian businesses, the gaps that exist in the market. As we always people are always talking about, there are so many gaps, there are no good people in Nigeria. So the gaps that exist in the market, and then how to close those gaps, policy issues, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So you have anything to say on that, basically, just like in a nutshell?
Yeah. For the gaps, as a recruiter, I would tell you for free that I've been worried myself.
Yeah.
I was facilitating a session in January, and I cracked a joke and said everything was okay until 2018. Like, I remember when we would schedule interviews, people will show up, but now you schedule interviews and all sorts of things. So I would say the gaps are due to several issues, right? First of all is our academic system. It's very hard these days, or I would say it has become very common to see even reputable schools become what we call, special centers, right? Where they give students
answers, yes.
So first of all, the secondary schools are producing people who cannot communicate properly, can't read properly, and all of that. And then because they have the results, they have the jam, somehow they go into the higher institutions. And then in some higher institutions, mostly public schools, you see people paying their way, and then sometimes, unfortunately, private schools, you're the solution, you're the future, but sometimes you see them just passing people.
Yeah.
So you produce those kind of people into the labor market. Another thing that's affected the workforce or the labor market recently is japa. Men, we've lost
so much quality.
Yes, we've lost quality people, right? And then the cost of living, right? Lots of good people want to earn better, and businesses are struggling. So all these things have really created a gap. So legit, there's actually a gap.
Yes. Okay. So it's even, well, we're taking the issues back. Okay, talking about special centers.
Yes.
You even hear stories of like places you expect your child to go and excel, like places are supposed to challenge your child. You hear about them saying, okay, this school doesn't have a certain number of teachers because they plan to just, find the answers for the kids and pass them, because as if that's what parents are paying school fees for. And I wonder when that became acceptable, when it became okay for even us as parents to say it's acceptable for my child to not know this subject but get an A in WAEC just to go into school.
Yeah.
And because a lot of strategy work has to do with people.
Yeah.
Before you do process and strategy, a lot of it has to do with the people, the resources that are coming into the organization, like the pipeline.
Yeah.
So when we are trying to recruit for maybe like a manager or something, and you're sitting on an interview panel, you're always shocked. You're always like,
yes.
okay. You're like, why?
It's really sad, honestly.
Yeah, but I think that because I don't want us to be those people in the generation preceding a generation that, preceding a generation that comes and says, oh no, the quality stopped in our year, after our year, nobody else was good, I don't want us to be those people, because I'm sure that they are good eggs, but what is really causing the block? Like, why is it that me and my small business, for example, okay, like you hear Lebanese people who have like factories to tell you, I'd rather hire an Indian or a Lebanese person.
Yes.
Why? Are you telling me that there are no Nigerians that have the capacity? Are they not willing to pay Nigerians what they are willing to pay foreigners to pick up those roles?
Okay, so when it comes to what you just asked, I would say that that's a challenge that has to do with culture and ethics. Right? Most of the time, systems create or produce people. For instance, everybody knows how disciplined Japanese people are, right? They don't like litter the place, even when they go to watch football.
They have a system that doesn't encourage it.
Exactly. Even the way they dress to work, when you see them like in the substation, everywhere is quiet. So these people have systematically produced people, right, that have the right ethics, that have the right etiquette, right, towards life, towards work, and all of that. And I would say it circles back to education.
Okay.
Right, because by the time these people come into the labor market, all of us actually are products of the system. We've already been formed. But then this is where personal parenting, and then even personal your mindset and then your drive comes in, where you have come from a system, but you tell yourself that you will not remain the way you are, right? You come into a system, you see people doing great things, you see people that have like good work behavior, and you say, you know what, I want to be like this person.
And then
there's a lot you have to do for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes, right? So I think that is a major thing that differentiates us from other countries. And I noticed that every nation is good for something. For instance, Nigerians are very good when it comes to music, right? And then I've heard of Togolese people. Like, if you want to get the best stylers, go to, like, I heard Togolese people, right? When it comes to construction, seems like Chinese people, Japanese, when it comes to technology, Japan too. So somehow I think it's a system, it's something that has to do with the system.
Technology is Indians,
when it comes to coding. But I think when it comes to things like cars,
automobiles, engineering.
Exactly.
Those are Germans though.
German.
It doesn't German.
Yes. Japanese. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then Japanese engineering too is actually world renowned. It's true. So I would say that are we going to then say that our gaps, the gaps that we are experiencing now, cannot be legislated away? Are we going to say it's a culture issue and so we have to go back to the grassroots? Or are there going to be legislations that are going to be made to help with the capacity that is coming up? Because we know that we are in the knowledge economy.
Yeah.
As much as we should go back to the grassroots, we should build industry. But if we are going to compete globally, it's all up here.
Yes.
So are we saying that we can't legislate it away? We can't legislate this and close these gaps?
I would say we can. Yes, we can legislate it away. And I think that we need to have more conversations like this where we raise awareness about what, like recruiters, people that are actually hiring. And not just even hiring, you see people like, organizations like the National Bureau of Statistics. We need to get all this information. Let us speak about it, right? So that people, the lawmakers, can actually come up with laws, right, that solve or address these challenges. And even when it comes to like our personal efforts, right, I know there are organizations like Teach for All, right? Yes, it's a development organization that addresses educational gaps, because they believe that you have to produce, like, producing quality people in the society starts from when they are young. So I don't think it's something that can be solved by one institution or one, like, several groups of people have to
Come to
yes
groups.
And that's one thing Elevation Craft does. We do employability trainings. We try to speak to people. We try to teach. As a HR person, when I manage people, once I identify a gap in maybe your behavior, your mindset, I try to mentor you and coach you, to bridge those gaps. And I think more people, leaders, HR people, managers, we need to do this. We need to encourage people. Let's talk to parents, right? If you know owners of schools, talk to them. It's something that the whole society, once you are aware that we have this gap, we have to work together in different ways to push.
Yeah, because I know that schools are struggling. They are competing against culture and the parents to be able to instill these in kids. Like, you can tell a parent, oh, your child is doing so and so.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the society doesn't really don't want bad actors. Because you can see when you bring bad actors to the internet, everybody is always up in arms. Like, like that little girl, that incident where the little girl got, slapped or bullied in school. Everybody was up in arms. We really do want to see bedrocks of growing the next generation. But what is lacking in our society that it is so difficult to pick up? Like, is it a home thing? Is it a government thing? Are people seeing the wrong thing so much that it's reinforcing bad behavior? So that's one, because we cannot discuss HR without discussing people.
Yes.
And we cannot discuss people without discussing cultures and the systems that surround them.
Yes. Well, when it comes to culture, I would say, to be honest, over the last few years, things have changed. The way we were raised, right, is different from how people are raising kids these days. I repeated SS1, yes, right. I remember when I repeated, and my mom just asked, Alpha, write a list of the books you misplaced, we'll buy them back.
You're doing this again.
Yeah, but I think some of us were scarred by the way we were trained back in the day.
Yes.
Right, and a lot of us want to do things differently, but we're actually causing some damage. Right. I really feel that people are becoming more aware about these gaps, and I think there's going to be like a circling back. I think there's going to be that awareness, that awakening. But I would say again that people like you and I and a lot of other leaders need to raise that awareness. Do you understand? I can't really speak to the culture per se.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go. Okay, look at how the federal government is run. Right, people that work for the government. You see the culture, right? And a lot of parents where government work, like a lot of us had parents that worked for the government.
Yes.
And when I did my CIPM, I remember there was this course I studied where they were talking about how back in the day, when the British people colonized us, they gave roles that were not very active to Nigerians, and then the major, because they just wanted inclusion,
the major decision roles
were given to the foreigners.
Yes.
So that created, I'm not saying that's all of it, but that was a major thing that created that laid back thing where you just go to the office and you don't do much. And whether we like it or not, that's a part of our culture. That's the truth. So I would say capitalism, the private sector has really come to push us to do better, right? And I think we'd improve actually.
Okay. So when we are talking about business owners, so
And
just
sorry, let's not forget Japa. Japa
Uh,
has really, yes,
it's
we're
really
talking of education, but Japa has really
no,
affected
definitely,
us.
because you would see somebody who's doing a great thing in his space, and you say, okay, just give it 5 years and things. And because I talk with business owners constantly for GroKo, and I'm sitting with somebody and we're talking, and the person goes like, oh yes, my family is planning to relocate to, maybe somewhere in the west or something, and then you'd be like, why are you're literally doing okay?
Yeah.
And the person tells you, oh no, for the kids,
Yes.
I really need opportunities for my kids, I need opportunities for myself.
Yes.
And you can understand, but you want to tell them, can we, who's good? Funny enough, I saw something on social media today, and the person says, do you know that the amount of people who are leaving Nigeria are like 1%? It's not the whole of the Nigerian population,
but those
that
are
can
quality
go.
people.
But then we are losing the quality 1%.
Yes.
Like the quality.
Yes, and there are some that stay back but tell you they can't work for a Nigerian, I can't work for a Nigerian company.
Exactly.
There are tech people that are really smart, have so much skill, you come
They are
with
not
opportunities, good
they are
pay,
not
and they tell you, is it a
interested.
Nigerian company? Sorry, I don't want to work for a Nigerian
Because they want to earn in dollars, though. It's securing wealth.
Yes, so that's also a major gap.
Yeah.
Because of course you have to be smart to write those examinations.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yes, so
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're going to talk about, if we are going to talk about retention,
yeah,
because it's an issue that, okay, there are people staying back, there are people working, we still have a whole population that we have to enable, we have to build, and a whole set of businesses that are still running in this country, and they're having difficulty retaining staff.
Yeah.
You have a good staff member, you're paying them, at least what you feel is competitive within the market, but you can't keep them.
Yeah.
So and because I do a lot of soft skill trainings and trainings to help organizations build cultures that can retain staff, but people will go where they will go.
Yeah.
So what is it that is small business? Now, I want you to visualize a small business that is just starting. Maybe she makes scarves or clothes, and then she's hiring like 14, 15 people, and she needs like a manager to oversee everybody.
Yes.
And she's brought in the manager is doing well, but she's giving the manager leeway, but she's trying to retain the manager because there's only so much she can pay the manager, because there's only so much she makes, or he makes. So what can you say to a business owner like that is struggling with retention? You've seen a quality person, you're trying to keep a quality person. Besides money, what other motivators can a business owner pull from, especially a small business owner, pull from to help retain staff?
Okay, so compensation in HR
is key.
Yes, and it's broken into three categories. You have the direct financial, that's salaries, like money. You have indirect financial, so things like health insurance, when you take money and pay for a benefit. And then you have non-financial, so things like culture, having a good place to work at, career growth, people having access to quality work. So a good total compensation package should have all of this. So if you know that, and I also run a business, right? And it's something I've had to do. So for one, I do hybrid. Because if I'm paying you money, I think if I'm paying you 150,000, how much are you going to spend to come to the office every day? So if I offer you a hybrid option, exactly, that flexibility. Also, quality work, right? What kind of work do you do? There are some business owners that hoard information. They don't allow their team to have access to quality people. You're working with a good company, but you're not building your network because you're being scared. You don't want them to, before they'll go and steal my contacts. No, you have to, of course, create systems to protect your business, right? But you need to give people that exposure. Another thing you can also do, of course, I think more business owners need to get training themselves. Yes, a lot of people are not good with
Exactly.
leadership. You God gave you this great idea, you started, you're thriving, but and business is overwhelming, by the way.
is.
Like if in this Nigerian economy, like it takes a lot of you need to be grounded, you need to watch your mental health,
To be
and
honest.
do some spiritual press up and all sorts of things to be sane, right? So to be fair, business is not a walk in the park, but you need to really build yourself to be that good manager, right? And you also need to help people grow. If you can't pay for trainings, you need to train people, you need to help them grow. And these are ways in which you compensate people for them to stay. Now, some people will still leave because at the end of the day,
It's free
you have
will.
bills to you have bills to pay.
Exactly.
Right? But the truth is, some people will still stay. There are people that, like for instance, women, different kinds of compensation speak to different demography. So women love flexibility because it helps
Certainly.
you work, and then
Yeah.
you're also managing your family. Things like health insurance. If you have somebody that maybe has kids, that's something that would no matter how small the package is. So just check what your demography is and find out cost-effective ways in which you can create like a mixed compensation package to meet the needs of these people.
This particular, but that will mean that business owners need to know the people they're hiring.
They need to
Know the people they're hiring. You can't just hire at random unless you're a big
Of course.
corporation. You can't, or the government. You can't just hire. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So of course, when you're interviewing people, there are questions you ask that give you an idea about the things that matter to people.
To that person.
Right? You also check the precedents. Where have these people worked? For instance, say you run a small company. You guys should not drag me. But you run a small company and you're hiring somebody that's worked in a lot of big places. That's going to be a huge culture switch.
Exactly.
And chances are the person will be like, wait,
what is this nonsense?
Wait with this. And then
But you see people leaving like big four companies, maybe like consulting, to come and join startups. They can't expect the same culture. Things are faster
Yes.
in these organizations. One person needs to wear like multiple hats.
Yes.
You need to understand
Yes.
that it's not going to be the same thing. You think you're hiring a grown up and the person gets it.
Yes.
It's how do I say? It's implied.
Yeah. And something people that are coming from Big Four don't be angry. But I discourage that kind of switch because when you work in a very big place, right? Big places do a lot of specialization.
Exactly.
And then coming to a startup, a lot of times they are overwhelmed. And then building things from scratch is actually a gift.
It is.
And sometimes people that come from big companies do not always build things from scratch. So just watch that one out.
Yeah, but I think it's a learned skill. It's a skill
from scratch.
Yes, but it's learned.
Yes,
it's learned. You need to be used to patience and failure. It's learned.
Yes,
you can actually build it. You just need to be resilient.
Yes, but startup culture can be very annoying.
Yes.
So if you're already used to of course,
the system.
Yes, that structure, and you switch. Not everybody that switches has the patience to wait through it and learn, as you said. So it's a gamble, really.
Yes, it is. It's a gamble for even some people that leave like Big Fours, for example, to start businesses. Need to they build those skills. They learn. But there are some people who have never worked in corporate and are building thriving, exceptional businesses today.
Yes.
So I think it's a personality thing. It's more, are you teachable?
Yeah.
Are you flexible? Can you fail?
Yeah.
Gracefully?
Yes. Gracefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have my colleague calls it the school fees of life. Yes. He says, are you ready to pay the school fees?
Yeah.
So yes, so if you're willing to you get scammed, you learn. That's your school fees.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to our last topic, because I mean if we're talking about HR, we're going to spend culture for businesses, we're going to spend the whole day.
Yes.
But so that we don't talk on and on for this, what I want to ask is, what about, or moving away from like businesses now, what can employees and employers look forward in? Like, what are the future trends, or what future trends do you see coming up in HR, in recruitment in the coming years that would affect not only like, because when people talk about trends, usually it's very hard for a small Nigerian business that is dealing with like 20, 30 employees to even visualize these changes and how they would affect them.
Yes.
So what are the changes in recruitment or in people, in expectations that we're going to be seeing in the coming years, besides, of course, hybrid working?
Yes.
Yeah.
So one is technology.
Definitely, yeah.
Right. I know we talk about it a lot, but some people have still not caught up. Mostly when it comes to AI. When AI came up, like when it started, I was one of the resistance people, like, no, it's cheating and all that. Right? Granted, we have to use technology responsibly, but if you do not leverage technology to produce work quickly, there are people who are leveraging it and they are producing
and they're
work
going
quickly.
to accelerate faster than you.
Exactly. So you have to make that adjustment.
Yeah.
Secondly, there are some career paths that would go extinct. Right. Even HR, there are aspects of HR that will change. Roles like administration, operations, like right now people have embraced outsourcing. So when you look at what admins and operations people used to do, a lot of those things are outsourced. People are now using more service apartments for their offices. Many companies don't buy cars anymore, right?
They lease those short
Exactly,
those cars, yeah.
right. So there's all that outsourcing. Also, even customer service will change, right? So there's going to be that technology change. And then I really want to encourage Nigerian youth. It's funny that there are still people that come to you and tell you, I know how to use Microsoft Word and Excel, right? Technology or being computer or tech savvy is a basic requirement. It is not an added advantage anymore. So you need to step up. You can't be talking of Microsoft Word and Excel when other countries are doing machine learning and all those things that even I don't fully understand. So that's a major change. And then these days, the younger generation, things that our parents did and other generations tolerated in the workplace, people are more aware now about bad cultures. In fact, now if you
they will not
blink at somebody like this, they'll just go and drag you on.
I'm sorry, the vibe in that place is so dead.
Exactly.
The vibe, my mental health is suffering.
Yeah, but these are the people that would have in the workplace. So we have to change, right? If you're an older person, you have to unlearn the former ways you used to do things and learn the new ways. Like you have to be more flexible. And I'm not talking of work arrangements. I'm even talking of communicating and accommodating people with different personalities, different perspectives into your workplace.
Yeah, because the younger people actually tend to be more tolerant. I think that's something we can give to younger people getting into. When I say tolerant, I mean tolerant of differences in the way people do things.
Yes.
So they can say, okay, yeah, that's you, do you, but I'd rather not. They are not necessarily the most adaptable.
Yes.
But they are tolerant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So off the top of my head, I would say for employers, this is something you have to look at, and even for people in the labor market. Also, I think there's a lot of younger people in the workplace do not want to, that patience. The fact that people are changing does not mean you wouldn't have to be patient. There's nothing you're going to do that is like stress-free. In fact, running a business is more demanding than working for people.
I know this.
Yes.
But people,
well, we learn the hard way.
We're mentoring young people, and then they tell you, I really don't want to work for any employers. I don't like stress. I'm like, then don't start a business.
Exactly.
Because it's going to be 7 million times worse.
Exactly. So I think that more people need to learn resilience. Yes, you need to learn resilience.
Grit.
Yes, because the world is gradually, when COVID happened, there was that flexibility, work from home, but people are now beginning to redefine what the workplace is and redefine what actually works. So if you continue switching jobs, in the next 5 years, you're just going to realize that you're not grounded you're not really grounded at anything, and it's hard for you to actually secure
pick any skills,
or even secure a good job.
Good job, yes.
Yeah. So summarily, I would say these are
the issues that we need to look at. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for giving us the time. I know I don't want to hold you for too long. We will just keep talking and talking. Yeah. But I think if you have like any final words for like employers who are trying to navigate the employee landscape in Nigeria, like the gaps we mentioned, dealing with government legislation. And before we even end, is there any legislation protecting human resources in Nigeria? Are they enforced? Do we know them?
So we have our Nigerian Labour Act.
Yes.
And we have the Ministry of Labour. Sorry, I'm ashamed.
Is it ITF?
No, not ITF. But no, we do not actually have any proper legislation, yes, in Nigeria. And I think it's very important for these bodies to come up mostly for employees.
Yeah.
Actually, right?
Yes.
Because I know the Labour Act was written like in 1970 something. Yeah. Once in a while, they review some policies.
But there's no push. There's no, things like there's no how do I say, incentive for the government to look into labor and to make. We have a labor minister, I believe. But is there? And whenever people think about labor in Nigeria, besides the organized private sector, that's really just a new thing. People are thinking of public servants. And the public service, while they employ a majority of the people who are working in Nigeria, they don't employ enough to keep this country running.
Yeah.
Because if we were thinking, public servants, they don't employ enough.
Yeah.
So because it's going to be private sector, there's going to need to be legislation, to support the people who are working in those sectors.
Yes.
So what kind of legislation do you think you need to see as like a Nigerian employer who's employing people, things to protect you, to protect them? What are the things that you're hoping, if there are any reviews of the policies that we will take into consideration?
Well, I think that, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the Ministry of Labor and something I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Because I know there was this place I worked at. No,
ILO is an international body.
Yes. There was this place I worked at, and there were times when there were employees from that organization would come and they would be checking our policies.
Oh, that's good.
Produce this. It's only when you want to review things you come. But the policies that you should put in place
are not even there
to run, like to protect employers and employees. Those policies are not necessarily there. For instance, when you go to places like UK, US, there are things people cannot do because, as you said, organizations like ILO are in play or in place, and they protect employers, they protect employees, they provide guidelines that both parties should follow to work together, right? And as a HR person, a HR manager, I'm sorry, I feel like we need those laws more right now for the employees, because we see a lot of bad people management practices, and we don't have these laws to really protect these people. Like, people do things and get away with it because there are no laws, right, to protect employees. And I don't feel like laws are bad. I feel like laws are just like the watchdogs and the guidance for employers to say, you know what, let's do it this way because of this and this reason. So right now we don't have like those active bodies. They are there, but nobody is really enforcing them. Nobody is enforcing them.
There's a general mindset though that laws are usually bad for thriving small businesses. Like, the more legislation there is concerning businesses, the lower the tendency for people to innovate and do what they want, flexibility basically, because they have to work within certain guidelines.
No, not necessarily, but like for laws for small businesses, by the way, there's the Nigerian Startup Act. Yes, that one, Nigerian Startup Act, it's out there. That one, those are like, that's an act that actually protects startups. So startup owners should
take a look at it.
Yes, take a look at it, right? But when it comes to people management, I don't think laws guiding how you should manage people, I don't think that will stifle an organization's innovation. Like, these things are just basic, right? Okay, give these people this number of off days. if you want to terminate somebody, do it this way. Don't overwork people beyond this number of hours. These are just
Things
basic
like that,
guidelines.
yeah.
Yes. So I think even then there's what you call best practice. Even if we don't have those legislations, I encourage business owners to learn about people. A lot of times we focus on the business and we forget that our people are
running the
important
businesses,
because they'll take care of the people you're trying to attract. So I think we still have a responsibility as business owners to learn about people management, right? No matter how little, learn about leadership and yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for this conversation. I took your summary time for these questions again, but thank you so much for taking out the time to have this conversation with us. And I hope that people can learn something. So I would say that my summary from this whole thing is employers need to take seriously the fact that they are working with people, and they need to take seriously the fact that they need to train themselves in order to, build environments that are beneficial to the people who they are bringing in to help retention.
Yes.
So, and then for capacity, we need to keep our fingers crossed, pray hard, and hope that
not pray hard. Like, let's just really speak
up about it. Yeah,
some of us know school owners.
Yeah.
Someone that lives with my sister goes to a Christian school.
Yes.
And when I came and they were planning to give them extra, I'm like, what's going on, right? Okay. So we need to talk to school owners. We need to speak to young people. When we come across, if you're an interviewer, you interview somebody, the person does something that is not helpful, give them that feedback. It's a step at a time. It's a step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but if all of us play a part, so it's not that we would just pray, no, let's play a part, right? And hopefully let's keep raising our voices.
Active participation.
Exactly.
Closing the gap. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. So when your children's school calls you to volunteer and hopefully take an active part in PTA and bring up these conversations, then we should, as parents, if we are parents or if we have young people in our lives, then we should take part in those conversations.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Toyin. Thank you so much
for having me.
Thank you so much. Please, can you share your social media handle with us?
Okay, so my social media
your personal and your business
craft. So my personal social media on Instagram is Toingrick. Just at Toingrick.
Yeah, we'll put it down.
Yeah. And then for our business is elevationcraft.hr. Elevation Craft. Yeah. Not witchcraft, just the craft. Just HR. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. That's been a wonderful conversation, Toingrick. Thank you so much, everyone. And we hope to have you join us for the next episode of The Jungle Laws. Thank you.
Bye.